Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, you guys know the deal on this channel, man. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, man. Stopping them from rewriting history, holding these guys to the standard. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about the facts here, guys. And in this video, man, we're going to talk about Nikola Jokic again. And once again, guys, this is not a hate on Nikola Jokic. This is not me trying to tear him down. What we're doing here is setting the record straight and putting these things into perspective, guys, as it relates to the previous eras, the 80s and the 90s, the era I grew up watching, and Nikola Jokic and his third MVP award in 4 seasons, guys. And once again, this exposes this weak, soft era of NBA. Nikola Jokic winning 3 MVPs in 4 seasons. This would never happen in the 90s, guys, or even the 80s. Talk about this video. And I want to thank you guys, man, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled by all support, man. Much respect to all you guys out there, all the true basketball fans, man. I try to interact with you guys in the comments. I try to answer some of you guys. I try to do the video requests if I see them. I told you guys, forgive me. I do everything from my cell phone, so sometimes I do not see things. It's hard for me to do YouTube on a cell phone. Many of you guys know it's easy if you have a desktop or something like that. So much respect to all you guys, like I said, for supporting me, for rolling with me, man. Thank you. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So yes, guys, like I said, man, we're going to talk about Nikola Jokic again in this video. Now, many people are scared to talk or do videos on Nikola Jokic to criticize him or critique him, so to speak. Many people are afraid because they might come off as a hater or that they're trying to tear Nikola Jokic down. But in reality, guys, what we're doing is what? Like I always tell you guys, we're putting the context behind these things and we're putting these things into their proper perspective. We're giving historical context and perspective behind these things. I'm not just speaking here, guys, just to speak. So when we talk about Nikola Jokic winning his 3rd MVP in 4 seasons, shout out to him, congratulations to him. No doubt about it, Nikola Jokic is a great player. But what I always tell you guys on this channel, this era is soft, this era is fraudulent, and it's been exposed. Now, when we think about Nikola Jokic, we must think about his overall success since he's been in the league, and we must think about, once again, the competition that he's going against. So I told you guys in that previous video about Nikola Jokic, now I said he would have a hard time in the 90s. Those are the facts, guys. So we must think about the competition, the people he's going against. Who are the other great centers, the other great big men of this era? We all know that the big man's been phased out. We've been talking about this for many, many years now. Everyone wants to stand on the 3-point line now. Nobody wants to go down low. No one's developing their post-up games. There's no bangers or bruisers. The game is less physical, right? This is what we allude to. We've also talked about what? The European players talking about how easy the NBA is now, how soft it is. Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis, these guys have talked about how easy the NBA is compared to the European basketball. It was never like that, guys, in the 80s and the 90s. The NBA was never considered soft or easier. The NBA was the standard when I was growing up. So what does that highlight? That this era is soft. So I wrote some stuff down, guys, as it relates or as it pertains to Nikola Jokic and his postseason success since he's been in the league and the players that he's going against. Once again, I ask you guys, who is Nikola Jokic's competition at the center position? There's really nobody in this era, and this is what we're alluding to. Once again, I asked the Nikola Jokic fans out there, and this is no knock on him. What is Nikola Jokic's defensive prowess? It's not there. It's lacking on the defensive end. He seems to be a one-sided player. And although he's very good on the offensive side of the ball, his offensive scoring, his playmaking ability, along with his rebounding, is the defensive end of the ball that Nikola Jokic will get exposed. And we're going to talk about it briefly real quick. So let's think about Nikola Jokic. Like I said, just winning his 3rd MVP in 4 seasons. He has 1 championship on his resume. But when we think about the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic, the team that he's leading, the leader of, they haven't been impressive. I'm not impressed with the Denver Nuggets. The postseason It's not impressive when you think about the teams that they played against and the centers on these teams that Nikola Jokic was going up against. So let's think about the 2019 season. That was the first season that Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets were in the playoffs. And they lost to the number 3 seeded Portland Trailblazers. That's right, guys. In 2019, the Denver Nuggets were the number 2 seed. They lost to the number 3 seed. So they lost to a lower seed Portland Trailblazer team. Can anybody tell me who the center on the Portland Trailblazers was in 2019? Can anyone tell me who it was? It was Enes Kanter, right? The same guy that changed his name to Enes Freedom. This weirdo, this fool. That's who Nikola Jokic was going against. That was the starting center for the Portland Trailblazers the 2019 season. That the Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, being the highest seed, lost to with home court advantage. They lost to that team. Enes Kanter, Damian Lillard, the guy who's known for never stepping up in the postseason, was able to go to his only Western Conference Finals in his entire career, beating Nikola Jokic 2019. No doubt about it, man. Let's think about and in that Game 7, Nikola Jokic was 3 for 10 in the fourth quarter of that Game 7, guys. Right? Not blaming him for the loss, but he's the leader of the team. He has to take the responsibility, the accountability. And he went 3 for 10 in that fourth quarter, and they ended up losing, I believe, by 4 or 5 points to the Portland Trailblazers. The following season, the bubble season, right, 2020 season, the Denver Nuggets went to the Western Conference Finals, and they lost to the Los Angeles Lakers, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, 4 games to 1. So they lost pretty handedly. But what do you see here? Once again, this is a series that Nikola Jokic went against an Anthony Davis, who is a quality defensive player at that position, even though people consider him a power forward. But he also had to go and deal with an older Dwight Howard, who I believe is 34 years old in that series, but made Nikola Jokic work in that series, man. And the Los Angeles Lakers handedly beat them in the Western Conference Finals. We all remember Anthony Davis, I believe, hit a game winner in that series. But Nikola Jokic was outplayed by Anthony Davis and was harassed and hounded by Dwight Howard. 34 years old Dwight Howard going against Nikola Jokic at his prime. So once again, this exposing Nikola Jokic. All right, let's go again. 2021, guys. They lost in the second round to the Phoenix Suns with Devin Booker and Chris Paul, I believe, that season. There was no Kevin Durant there yet. And they lost, I believe, 4 games to 2, I want to say. There was no Jamal Murray there in that series, and that hurt the Denver Nuggets because Jamal Murray had been known for being that second guy right behind Nikola Jokic. So without Jamal Murray, they lost in the second round to the Phoenix Suns. But who was the starting center for the Phoenix Suns? Who was Nikola Jokic counterpart? Who was he going against? It was DeAndre Ayton. Is anybody impressed with DeAndre Ayton? He's a solid player, but his name ain't ringing no bells. He ain't nobody like that. He ain't no MVP candidate. This is who Nikola Jokic was going against. Once again, exposing this era of NBA and the big men in this era, right? There's really no legit big men in this era. As you guys can see, Enes Kanter, old Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, and now we're talking about DeAndre Ayton. These are the teams that are beating Nikola Jokic in the postseason. All right? Let's go to the next season, 2022. They would lose to the Golden State Warriors in the first round. All right, no doubt about it. The Warriors would win the title that season. So whatever, but they lost 4 games to 1 in the first round. Does anyone know who the center on the Golden State Warriors was in 2022? Kevon Looney. This is the center for the Golden State Warriors. This is who Nikola Jokic is going against. Once again, he might have been being guarded by Draymond Green from time to time, but Kevon Looney was the starting center for the Golden State Warriors. Does anybody think that Kevon Looney is some legit all-time great center or even a good center? No, he's a role player, he's a bench warmer, man. In the 80s and the 90s, Kevon Looney ain't even in the NBA, guys. Those are the facts, man. I'm telling you, this era's been exposed. When you do the research and you dig down into these things, guys, I'm telling you right now, it's fraudulent. Kevon Looney. So they lost that year. Once again, no Jamal Murray in that series, and the Denver Nuggets lose. And then last season, we know the Denver Nuggets won the championship, and they beat the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. The Miami Heat. That shouldn't have even been there, that I've told you guys. Eric Spoelstra doing a hell of a coaching job in Miami over the last 5-6 seasons, man. 2 NBA Final appearances with guys like Jimmy Butler. And who's the starting center for the Miami Heat last season, guys? Who was Nikola Jokic going against? Bam Adebayo. And listen, once again, Bam Adebayo is a solid player. In the 80s and the 90s, Bam Adebayo is a bench warmer at best, guys. A role player at best. He ain't no starter. But this man was Nikola Jokic's counterpart in the NBA Finals last season. Bam Adebayo, who's like 6'8", 6'9". Nikola Jokic is damn near 7 feet tall. That's who's guarding you, Bam Adebayo. Come on, man. Once again, not making Nikola Jokic really earn it. Not doing anything, not saying anything about this era and the big men of this era. Once again, exposed. So now, as you guys can see, I'm not impressed with this, with what the Denver Nuggets have accomplished. And let's take it a step further. The Denver Nuggets have never beaten a 50-win team in the playoffs, which is insane to me. I did not even realize that. I saw some of you guys in the comments had mentioned that. I didn't think you guys were right, so I had to look into these things, and you guys were on the money, man. The Denver Nuggets have never beaten a 50-win team, guys. The Miami Heat that they beat last year in the finals won 44 games. 44 games. 44. Once again, showing Eric Spoelstra's coaching prowess, doing more with less. But the Miami Heat were not a formidable team by any means. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, the star players, the leaders of that team, not impressed. Once again, they won 44 games. The Denver Nuggets have never beaten a team that had 50 more or more wins. Think about that. That's insane. I did not even realize that. It exposed Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. And this is what I was talking to you guys about in that other video as it relates to this series with the Minnesota Timberwolves now. Because they're being exposed now as not being battle-tested, not being really true battle-tested champions. You didn't beat anybody. They've never beaten anyone. They beat literally nobody, guys, in the postseason over the last 3-4 seasons now. And Nikola Jokic has collected 3 MVPs now in 4 seasons with mediocre postseason play. Don't talk to me about Nikola Jokic's numbers. I've told you the numbers are inflated in this era. It's the impact you have on the game. And the problem for Nikola Jokic is, once again, when we talk about the numbers he puts up, once again, who is he going against? Enes Kanter, 34-year-old Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, and they lost, right? You're going against DeAndre Ayton. You're going against Bam Adebayo. These are the guys that he's going against. Kevon Looney. I'm not impressed. So you should be putting up numbers. The flip side is, on the defensive end, Nikola Jokic has 0 impact on the defensive end. He's not making these guys work. He's not making the other teams work. He's not helping his teammates out. These are the facts, guys. These are the cold, hard facts, the reality of Nikola Jokic's career. And when I tell you guys he's been exposed, this is not to tear him down or say he's not a great player, because he is a great player. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, one of the greats. But in this era, his numbers are inflated and the MVP trophies, guys, are certainly inflated. Now, let's think about this for a second now. Think about this. In the 90s, let's just say the 90s, for example, Nikola Jokic, we dropped Nikola Jokic in the 90s. Who is he going against in the 90s? This is where these guys get exposed as fraudulents. No real legit big men. Because in this era, like I told you, the guys that I read off, they're not really anybody impressive. Karl Anthony Towns, is he impressive? Right? Once again, Rudy Gobert, right? Probably the best big man of this era. Not saying much. Joel Embiid can never stay on the court. And then I wrote these other names. Not impressed with these guys at all. So let's take it a step further. In the 90s, in the Western Conference, Nikola Jokic would have been constantly going against guys like Karl Malone, Shawn Kemp, Hakeem Olajuwon, Dikembe Mutombo, David Robinson, Vlade Divac, Kevin Duckworth, Arvydas Sabonis, Mark West, Mark Eaton, Ronnie Cycli, Shaquille O'Neal, just to name a few of those guys, all right, that were in the Western Conference at some point during the 90s that Nikola Jokic would have to go through. He would have to battle against these guys. Now, not all these guys are all-time great players, right? But a lot of these guys are great defensive players, right? Or they had offensive skills. They're going to make Nikola Jokic earn it. He's going to have to play defense against these guys. See, in today's era of NBA, a lot of these guys, they don't make you work because they're standing outside the three-point line. They're not banging you down low, posting you up. They're not doing these things. So you can stand around and not really play any defense, right? These guys are not offensive. Like, they're standing out there. They're not doing nothing. So Nikola Jokic don't really got to play defense like that, like you would against like a Karl Malone or Shaquille O'Neal, a David Robinson, a Hakeem Olajuwon. They're going to make you work on both sides of the ball. Both sides. You're going to have to guard them on defense, and you're going to have to play against them on your offensive end. You have to go against them. And they're going to be stout. They're going to be physical. They're going to bang you. And I'm not saying Nikola Jokic is a soft player, because he's not soft. And I'm not saying he's a flopper or anything like that. But in this era of NBA, it is soft. So when he makes those comments about the NBA's easier than EuroLeague, it exposes this era of NBA and his dominance. It's fraudulent. You're not going against the legit all-time greats or even really good players. And you're damn sure not going against any defenders. And you're lacking the defensive end, Nikola Jokic. So he would get exposed by a lot of those guys in the Western Conference in the 1990s era of NBA, guys. So these are the facts here. Nikola Jokic, the Denver Nuggets have beaten nobody in the postseason worth nobody, literally nobody, guys, have they beaten in the postseason. Nobody. Even their championship run, not impressive. That might be one of the weakest championship runs in the history of the NBA. Did not be one 50-win team in the entire postseason run, guys. Not one. Not one. Meanwhile, you had guys like Hakeem Olajuwon going against 55, 60-win teams over and over again every single season, guys. I told you, the 90s had the most 60 and 55-plus win teams in the history of the NBA, guys. The 90s. From 1990 to 1999, the most 55-plus win and most 60-plus win teams in the history of the NBA, guys. 1998 alone had 3 60-win teams in the Western Conference. 3. You had the Seattle Supersonics, who I believe won 60 games. You had the Los Angeles Lakers, who I believe won 60 games. And then the Utah Jazz, I believe, won 62 games that season, guys. 3 60-win teams just in the Western Conference. Then you had the 60-plus win Bulls in the Eastern Conference. 4 60-win teams, guys, in 1998 alone. 4. Okay, guys? There's competition all over the place. All right? You were going against great teams. Not just great players, great teams. Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets have not beaten anybody. They beat literally no one. David Robinson was battling against Hakeem Olajuwon's Rockets. Shaquille O'Neal's Lakers. Karl Malone's Jazz. Shawn Kemp's and Gary Payton's Sonics. That's legit competition. And these are great big men. They were battling against each other, knocking each other out. Karl Malone beating Shaquille O'Neal in 1998. And I believe in 1997. Hakeem Olajuwon beating David Robinson in 1995. You guys know the deal, man. I'm not impressed with what's going on in this era of NBA. Nikola Jokic has 3 MVPs in 4 seasons, guys. And to me, in the 90s, Nikola Jokic wins 0 MVPs, guys. I've told you this before. The MVP winners over the last 10 seasons in the NBA, if we go back from 2014 all the way to now, a lot of these guys are frauds and MVPs, man. When you think about a Kevin Durant or a James Harden or Russell Westbrook, these guys are not winning MVPs in the 90s. And even Nikola Jokic, if he wins 1 MVP, okay, maybe. He's not winning 3, though. He's nowhere near winning 3 MVPs in the 90s, guys. You're not winning MVPs over Michael Jordan, right? You're not. You're not winning MVPs over Michael Jordan or Hakeem Olajuwon, a David Robinson, a Shaquille O'Neal, a Karl Malone, a Charles Barkley every single year. You're not going to beat these guys out. Those are legit MVP caliber players. These are not flukes, fraudulence, guys who every once in a while or guy had a great season and he fell off. These are all-time greats who were consistently great for long periods of time, that were always in the top 3, top 5 MVP consideration. Nikola Jokic, to me, is not beating those guys for 3 MVPs. Like I said, maybe he gets 1, maybe. But maybe he also gets exposed in the 90s, going against guys like Patrick Ewing and Dikembe Mutombo and Alonzo Mourning and Rick Smits and Hakeem, right? And David Robinson and Shaquille O'Neal, right? And just going against these guys, banging around with them. An older Moses Malone. These are the facts, guys. You're going to have to earn it. Every single night, you're going to have to bring it. You ain't going to just get by off of some quote-unquote skills. You're going to have to bring it with the toughness, the physical game. Like I said, the mental game of these guys, the grit, the heart, the teams you're going against. You're not going to be playing a 44-win team. You're going to be going against 50-plus win teams every single round. It's going to be a battle. So no doubt, man, Nikola Jokic has earned his 3 MVP awards, man, in this week era. No doubt about it. But there's no way, no how, that he wins 3 MVPs in any other era, guys. He's not winning 3 MVPs in the early 2000s over Tim Duncan, or Kevin Garnett, the Dirk Nowitzkis, the Kobe Bryants, the Shaquille O'Neals. You're not winning an MVP every single year. 3 times in that era, I don't see it. Same thing in the 90s. We talked about the 80s. He's going to win 3 MVPs over a Michael Jordan, a young Michael Jordan, a Magic Johnson, a Larry Bird, a Moses Malone, a Dr. J, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the 80s. I don't see it. I do not see it, guys. Let's go back to the 60s, the 60s or the 70s. Is he winning 3 MVPs in those eras? Going against a Will Chamberlain or a Willis Reed, a Bill Russell, right? A Wes Unseld, right? An Elvin Hayes. Come on, man. What are we talking about here? Right? A Nate Thurman. These are the facts, guys. There was a lot of great big men back in the days because that's how the game was played, inside out. Now the game is outside. There is no inside. There is no defenders down low. The greatest defensive player of the last, 10 seasons is Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert. And he's a solid defensive player, no doubt. But the man won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award. I'm going to do a video on this. He would not sniff those in other eras. It's a joke, man. Remember, everything is inflated in this era. Nikola Jokic is a great player for this era. But really, ask yourself the question, who is he going against? What teams have they beaten? Now, all of a sudden, they're going against a really good defensive team, guys who are hustling, giving the effort, right? You're going against a Rudy Gobert, right? You're going against a weak, soft Karl-Anthony Towns, an Anthony Edwards. And all of a sudden, the pieces around them are making it difficult for the Denver Nuggets. And now they look like they've never been battle-tested. Jamal Murray is more crucial than people want to give credit for. They'll say, Nikola Jokic didn't have an all-star teammates. I don't want to hear that nonsense. Jamal Murray's an all-star caliber player. He just happened to be injured a lot in his career. But when he was there, he was showing up. A lot of people don't realize that against the Lakers last season, the Western Conference Finals, Jamal Murray averaged 31 points a game. 31 points a game, leading them in points. You name me the player. Hakeem Olajuwon never had a player average 31 points a game in a series, ever. Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, no. Not even Michael Jordan ever had a teammate average 31 points a game in a playoff series. These are the facts, guys. And we've seen what Jamal Murray has done in this postseason, and 2-game winners against the Lakers. Now, yeah, he's kind of fallen off in this series, but once again, I told you guys, the Nuggets have been exposed as not really being battle-tested. Once again, not saying they're going to lose this series, but who have they beaten in the postseason worth note? Who? This guy's going against Kevon Looney, Enes Kanter, DeAndre Ayton. Not impressed, guys. You know the deal, man. Not impressed. So once again, guys, we must continue to set the record straight, man. Nikola Jokic is a great player for this era. He's not winning 3 MVPs in other eras, guys. It's not happening, man. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.